under this flag-painted roof, religion and politics mix.
I want Trump to come back sooner than later. But you know who would be a lot better than Trump coming back? Yeah. Jesus coming back.
With gusto.
Biden, you trouble Israel. Yeah. Leftists, you trouble Israel.
This is the Patriot Church on the outskirts of Knoxville, Tennessee.
You unvaccinated people. You are causing the trouble in the land. That's what they say.
Founded by Pastor Ken Peters.
This nation was founded on predominantly Christian values by predominantly Christian people. We just want to keep that in play. We just want to keep our roots alive and not let this reconstruction, this tearing up of our nation's roots and a new set of values is being pushed on us. It literally is.
In October of last year, NBC's Ann Thompson explored the rise of political pulpits around the country. Joining us now, founder and senior pastor at North Point Ministries, Andy Stanley. He's the author of the new book entitled Not in It to Win It, Why Choosing Sides Sidelines the Church.
Andy, thanks so much for being with us. I love the book. Unfortunately, I related to too much of the book.
Oh, boy.
I grew up at First Baptist Church of Chamblee, Georgia, First Baptist Church, Mississippi, First Baptist Church of Pensacola, Florida. And we talked actually whether it was a training union, Bible drills, Bible study, Sunday school. Yeah. We talked about the Bible. Yep. And I'm not exactly sure what happened to our church. I do know this, though, that when I went back to Pensacola and went to my mom's funeral, I'm standing there in front of her casket. And as I'm shaking hands with friends, a friend I've known my entire life comes up to me and says that she prays for my soul every night because I didn't support Donald Trump. And I said, I will be praying for your soul. But you have similar stories. I'm sorry, what happened when I say our church? I'm not just talking about the Baptist church. I'm talking about evangelicals. Right. What happened over the past 30 years?
Well, my summation is I think we've forgotten what it means to be Christian. We're good at telling people how to become Christian. I think we've lost sight of what it means to be Christian. So consequently, we take personal grievances and we filter them through political issues and then dress it up with Jesus. And it doesn't serve the church well. It doesn't serve the nation well. So anyway, but Andy,
this is what I don't get, though. Where's the grievance from? We're taught from the earliest days that we're saved by grace. It's the greatest story ever told, and it's the greatest story that I actually believe in, and thank God for grace, because I'd be in trouble without it. But with that extraordinary story, why do you have to lean on secular political leaders who are self-interested and where's that grievance coming from when you've got the Savior?
Well, this frustration that you're describing and communicating right now is exactly the reason I wrote Not in It to Win It. I sat back and I watched high-profile Christian leaders, broadcasters, podcasters leverage their platform, their church platforms, to basically align themselves with political leaders, one in particular. And I lean right politically. So I wrote this book really to evangelical leaders who I feel like sort of gave up their calling to the point that you're making, that as Jesus followers, we've been given specific marching orders. Or the way I say it to our churches is, hey, everybody gets to choose whether or not they want to follow Jesus, but we don't get to choose what following Jesus looks like, sounds like, acts like, and most importantly, we don't get to choose what it reacts like. So for some reason, it's as if we have forgotten what it means to be Christian. And so I was just going to write an article and turned into a small book, Not in It to Win It.
Yeah, so the pastor that Ann Thompson interviewed in the clip we showed going in, I understand the gentleman wanting to have an impact on government. We're Americans. Yep. We have that right. I'm just wondering where the focus comes scripturally from the Gospels, where it comes scripturally from the Bible, that the focus is predominantly on politics, on the secular world, and not on things of the Spirit. Jesus, you don't find Jesus in the gospel saying, oh, you really need to get, they say, what do we do about taxes? Jesus says, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar, unto God that which is God. Right. Gives them a coin from, then he pulls out fish, and that's it. Which is, Jesus, this is not what we're concerned with.
Yeah, Jesus played along he stayed in two lanes, and one lane he stayed out of. And one of the lanes he stayed out of was policy. The two lanes he spent most of his time in was addressing the heart of human beings, because he said all the problems, all the stuff that you're going to deal with in society comes from the heart. And at the same time, he would minister to and extend grace and mercy to the people impacted by the societal ills. So as the church, we need to stay in those two lanes. And when we do, we actually make an impact culturally. We make an impact in society. But when the church and when church leaders get out of those two lanes and start playing in the policy lane, things become so murky. And what happens, whether we intend to or not, we end up prioritizing our politics over our faith and justifying our politics with our faith. And when that happens, game over. We're just another constituency to be wined and dined and bribed. And that was so disheartening over the last couple of years. I just felt like I had to say something.
So here's what you write in the book about viewing politics through the lens of faith. Quote, political polarization has been a national reality for decades, but during 2020, the messy but often productive middle ground all but disappeared. As a result, Americans were pressured to move further right or further left or be left behind. Lines were drawn where lines were deemed unnecessary in the past. Unfortunately, and to the point of this book, churches, church leaders, and prominent pastors took their cues from culture and vacated the middle. To our shame, they added their voices to those of their secular counterparts. Not wanting to be left out and certainly not left behind, we entered the partisan fray. What did what everyone else was doing, pretty much the way they were doing it? We sided publicly with a party and a candidate and defended both regardless.
And Andy, we see this dramatically. I don't want to pick on this poor guy. I'm glad he testified before Congress, but he said that Donald Trump undermined the Constitution, which was divinely inspired, and it would go against everything that he ever believed in. And then they were asked, well, would you vote for him again? He goes, yeah, I'd vote for him again. Yeah. And that's okay, wait a second. It undermines the work of Jesus Christ on earth, but you'll vote for him again. I'm not picking on him. My friends that I grew up with, so many of my family members will say the same thing every day. Yes, these people are deplorable. We despise what they say. They're hateful human beings, but we're going to vote for them.
Right. Well, and again, the privilege we have as citizens, obviously, is to go to vote. And I tell everybody in our church, hey, never miss an opportunity to vote. Your law of Christ-informed conscience. And you may vote left and you may vote right. But at the end of the day, as Christians, I mean, the word Christ means king or Messiah. We are partisans of a king. And the moment that we become primarily partisans of a political candidate, we've abdicated our Christianity. And as you know this because of your background, problems are solved in the middle, in the messy middle, where people come together with their life experiences. And we have those moments where we say, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't understand. Oh, I always assumed. And consequently, we can get things done. But when the church on either side lines up behind a political party, as I said in the book, we vacate the middle. And then, as you know, there's no nuance. It's practically impossible to even have a conversation.
And the thing is, we are saved by grace. If you read the gospel, it's about grace. It's Jesus saying, judge not that ye be not judged. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. How often do we forgive? 7 times? No, 70 times, 7 times. That is the framework of the Gospels. Right. And yet you get into politics, it's a zero-sum game.
Really
Andy,
interesting.
thank you so much for being... Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
The book is Not in It to Win It, Why Choosing Sides Sidelines the Church. Andy Stanley, thank you. Great concept, great book. Thank you. Coming